War is a dirty, bloody business, and it only benefits the ruling class of the involved nations. The conscripts shipped off to fight in some leveled city have no chance of elevated status. Their lives won't be improved by butchering their fellow workers.
So tell the Russians, you fucking simp, to stop.
There must be a peaceful resolution to this conflict. We have seen in recent months that the United States remains the primary obstacle to peace in the region.
This is like a children's play, right? You can see like the US is like the person hunched over with the cape like, we must destroy the hope of the USSR.
Why does this guy hate America so bad? Where did America touch you?
In late February of 2022, Russia officially began what it has since called its special military operation in Ukraine. While this event marked a significant escalation in violence between the two countries, it was not where the conflict began. Nearly a decade ago, the United States and European imperialist powers backed a far-right coup in Ukraine that overthrew the elected government and installed a puppet regime on the border of the US's Cold War rival.
Where have I heard this before? So I guess he's a Jimmy Dore fan.
Oh no!
Have you seen this before? I guess you have.
No, I haven't seen this before.
Oh. Well, you knew that was his line of attack, right?
In 2014, the U.S. and imperial powers staged a far-right coup in Ukraine to install the puppet government.
Do you think we could set up a 2v2 debate with Second Thought and Rob Noor between both of us? I think that would be.
I don't know if Rob Noor believe I don't know if he believes the right-wing coup of Ukraine narrative, does he? I hope he doesn't.
I'm sure he does. Come on, let's be serious.
That'd be
here.
interesting. Rob Noor going to team up with a commie to argue about that. I don't think he does, though.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I've never heard him talk about it.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I hope he doesn't. That's just retarded. But oh my god. Sleepy Thought over here is like, I heard the Newland phone call, Sitch. She said that they were gonna replace the prime minister of Ukraine. That's what he said. I heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. The far-right government. Jeez.
Are we at any point going to bring up the video?
No.
Okay.
There's too much things. I mean, you already might have got dinged because you had the screen
bullshit
of, like,
up.
the blood person dead, but it's blurry, so it does.
Whatever.
But we'll see.
Don't say anything.
At the time, this was seen as a clear provocation by the United States, and an attempt to gain a foothold to launch an eventual proxy war in the region.
Okay, so this dumb idiot, 100% on board, and I'm curious because I don't think he'll give any evidence, thinks that the U.S. imperial powers couped the democratically elected government of Ukraine, ignoring obviously the fact that there was so he's not talking at all. This total piece of shit apologist for, which by the way, it's wild to me that there are socialists that are running interference for Russia, which is not a socialist country anymore, even remotely socialist.
Well, it is authoritarian, so they got that
right, but it's
going for them.
authoritarian right wing.
Of course, yeah.
Not authoritarian left wing. So why is he running even from like this? Like, this is how much he hates America. Okay, he hates America so much that he's willing to simp for an authoritarian right wing country.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
He's not going to bring up how Russia was violating the Budapest Memorandum by stopping all trade with Ukraine just because they didn't want Ukraine to join the EU. He's not going to bring any of that up whatsoever, I bet.
Yeah.
He's not going to bring up the fact that the president, that the coup president literally ran away to Russia after he agreed to hold new elections, and that's why they voted him out of office.
He doesn't know any of that.
Yeah.
A reality when conveniently swept under the rug in recent years.
No, thank you.
But even this thinly veiled threat cannot be considered the true beginning of the conflict. We'd have to go all the way back to the illegal dissolution of the Soviet Union to really understand the root of the problem.
Okay.
The illegal dissolution of the Soviet Union. Oh. My God.
Really? Oh,
the illegal dissolution of the Soviet. Wow. I mean, it's just such a tragedy, right? It's such a tragedy.
Didn't the Soviet Union kind of fall apart on its own?
It was illegal. It was illegal. I don't know if you know this. It was illegal, Adam. It was against the law.
Okay. Strange.
Undermining and eventual destruction of the original socialist project, the brutal and sadistic economic shock therapy that followed, and the fragmenting of what had once been a strong and united people.
Okay, so holy shit. Wait. So he's classifying the USSR, which like took over all of its fucking neighbors, right? By force. And he's like, these people were once unified in beautiful harmony. And now, because of the brutal undermining of America, they've fallen apart into disarray. Like, okay, this guy is a tanky. This guy's 100% like a piece of shit apologist for, genocide and tankyism at this point, right?
Of course, yeah.
It's crazy.
Sick. It's disgusting. I want to puke.
The moment the Second World War ended, the United States began preparing for conflict with this burgeoning new economic power. The Soviet Union was rightly seen as a shining alternative to capitalism.
Oh my God! Oh, that was it. America was like, listen, we can't have these Soviets here. They're just too successful, and it's making us look bad. That was the problem, right? We're going to skip over the fact that the Soviets originally joined forces with the Nazis. We're going to skip that part, right? How about we're going to skip over the part that, the Soviets were taking over all of their neighbors, and their neighbors were like, can you not take us over, please? We'd appreciate it if you didn't take us over, right? We're going to skip over all that stuff.
Of course. Look,
Okay.
they're doing their own thing, obviously. It's socialist utopia. Everyone's into it. They're like, yes. And then big old bad America has to, come sticking their nose in their business.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Saying, hey, Ukrainians, what do you think of freedom?
I wonder, is he going to get to the whole, like, the only reason East Germany was bad was because the Allied forces were evil? The West Germany under Allied, capitalist democratic rule became so amazing. The socialists literally had to build a wall to keep their own population.
Please don't.
Right?
Please don't go there.
Right? Is he going to create some
no.
insane argument about how that was really the capitalist fault somehow?
The wall was to protect them.
Okay.
Now he's going full Donald Trump.
Ray of hope for millions of average people around the world. And so the United States began its long process of trying to kill this hope.
Holy shit! This guy is delusional.
Killer of hope.
The USSR, a shining city on a hilltop, a shining ray of hope to all. And then the US, big bad US, dun dun dun. This is like a children's play, right? You can see like the US is like the person hunched over with the cape, like, we must destroy the hope of the USSR.
What is he smoking, man?
Socialism.
I just don't get it.
Do you remember when the U.S. Intentionally starved to death millions of Americans in some of the states in order to feed other Americans in other states? Do you remember when that happened?
No, because it didn't ever.
I don't remember that happening. I remember that happening in the Soviet Union. I don't remember that happening in America. Okay,
I'm trying to. Does Second Thought have a reading list? Look, Look, I know I just gave Dev a rash of shit for reading nonsense, but now I am curious.
Okay.
if he's got any total shit books on his reading list. Like, what turns your brain into this kind of mush here?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Crafting war plans, and even considering a preemptive nuclear strike. This is the context in which we must analyze the Russia-Ukraine conflict. What tends to get lost in mainstream coverage of this war, or any conflict that benefits the imperialist powers, is the human cost of war. Those who sign the papers and make the decrees that send entire generations into the meat grinder will never hold a gun themselves.
Wait. I don't know how the fuck you can say that. You fucking piece of shit scumbag. God, there's gonna be a lot of editing out. A lot of bleeping on this one, CT. I apologize. This guy's like really, really pissing me off. Okay.
Right.
You don't get to defend Russia invading Ukraine. Ukraine didn't attack Russia. Ukraine just sitting there. Russia made the decision to invade Ukraine. And they can make the decision at any time to stop. They can make the decision at any time to stop, to pull back and say, oh, these American imperialistic powers, they don't think about the human cost of war. When Russia decided on its own free will to invade the sovereign country, then its neighbor, and continually attack it and shell it and just kill its people, when they could just leave at any time, why won't the Americans think of the human cost of the war?
But Sitch.
Yeah. They had to do it, Sitch. You understand? They just had to do it. They just knew. They just knew if they did it, oh, they would be surrounded. The NATO, they were going to join NATO any day. They were going to join NATO any day. I mean, they weren't going to really join NATO. There's no evidence they were about to do it, but they were going to join any day. And when they did, oh, NATO was just going to invade Russia. There's a long history of NATO invading Russia. I mean, that's literally never happened in their nuclear power, so no one ever thinks that would actually happen, but they were going to do it.
NATO was right on their doorstep, Sitch. They were right there. They could have knocked. They could have knocked and said, hello, we're your neighbors.
Oh, fuck.
Can you come out and play?
Can you spare a cup of sugar? NATO needs a cup of sugar from Russia.
Hello,
no,
Russia.
Russia's like, no, you have taken our land, and no, our sugar is a step too far.
Russia, we're your neighbor, NATO.
Jesus.
They'll lose a child to geopolitical jockeying. Their lifestyle won't be affected. They won't lose their homes to shelling. Their pantries will remain stocked. And their water will always be clean.
Who's doing this? You a-hole? Who's the one doing this? It's not Ukraine is not shelling Russia. Ukraine has not invaded Russia. What the hell are you talking about? This is insane.
But that is not the reality for the people being sent to fight, and the loved ones they're desperately trying to protect from pointless escalation and random acts of cruelty inspired by the hate and bitterness of war. As with any act of...
So you guys can't see this. So he had like a bunch of pictures of like, or a lot of visuals of, I assume, Ukrainians.
War crimes and shit.
Ukrainians who have been like, their homes have been destroyed. And then when he talks about like the cruelties of war, he cut to an image which was a Russian soldier, yeah, a Russian soldier who was like taped to a pole, and they stuck a thing in his mouth, which was like a famous picture that I don't know if you remember when it came out when the Ukrainian war first kind of started. And that was like the big horrific act, right? The big horrific act is not Russians killing Ukrainians, it's not blowing up their homes, it's not literally stealing their children, which is happening. No, it's that some Ukrainians taped a Russian soldier to a pole and they stuck a candy bar in his mouth. That's like the big horrific thing. But okay.
Isn't that so crazy? They're so desperate for people that they're stealing children from Ukraine.
It's pretty wild.
What the heck?
Conflict. Exact numbers are closely guarded by the combatants, but there's no hiding all the footage that makes its way to Telegram, Twitter, and other more democratized online news sources. Conservatively, tens of thousands of people have been killed since last year, including civilians, as well as mercenaries flying in from Western countries to hunt their fellow human beings for sport. We've seen...
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Horrific footage of homes destroyed, bodies burned beyond recognition, and what looks like evidence of chemical weapons. War is a dirty, bloody business, and it only benefits the ruling class of the involved nations. The conscripts shipped off to fight in some leveled city have no chance of elevated status. Their lives won't be improved by butchering their fellow workers.
So tell the Russians, you fucking simp, to stop. They're the ones that can stop at literally any time. They could just stop and pull back. And guess what? The war would be over. That's all they have to do. They're the one, they literally have all the power
to
stop the conflict. Like, what is wrong with you? Why? How can you lay this at the feet of America?
Yeah.
Is it because like, oh, well, America should just let them like taken over in a second? Is that the argument? They should just let them, get massacred, I guess. There'd be less deaths in the short run. I mean, they'd be controlled by a foreign power and under the thumb of foreign power, but freedom isn't really that important, right? When you're a socialist.
How would they treat those people? Probably horrifically.
I mean, it's not like there's a history of Russia basically using Ukrainians as fodder to enrich their own lives. Something that this person who supposedly cares about the worker should be very upset about. Oh wait, that's literally exactly what happens.
Yeah, there's a long history of that. What are you talking about?
That's literally like an entire history between these two countries.
They will be lucky to return home at all, and most of them with scars both physical and mental that will haunt them for the rest of their lives. Meanwhile, those at the top talk of democracy, freedom, national determination, and invoke some mythologized past to fool the peasants into thinking they're dying for a noble cause. They are not. There must be a peaceful resolution to this conflict. We have seen in recent months that the United States remains the primary obstacle to peace in the region.
What?
We have seen that. I mean, we've seen that. I don't know if you know it. We've seen it, right? Like,
I mean, I would say Putin is probably the primary obstacle.
right.
Yeah.
Did they not understand? Like, what is the argument?
The argument is that if the U.S. bent over and grabbed our ankles, that everything would be hunky-dory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, how about this? We'll send out Sleepy Thought here, right?
Oh,
he can personally
an emissary?
Yeah, he can personally be the emissary to bend over and grab his ankles for Putin. Okay.
I like this plan.
We bring peace, and we'll see if that works. How about that?
Say, listen,
Right.
You're going to be the new Brittany Grinder. We're going to ship you over to Putin. Say, look, here's an American for you.
There you go. Go to town, right?
Yeah, I don't
As China attempts to broker a peaceful resolution, the US and its lackeys call ever more loudly for increased weapons shipments and greater Western involvement. Thankfully, this conflict has coincided with the sharpening of contradictions surrounding the US.
So this guy doesn't understand that, like, the reason, if you're trying to negotiate peace, okay, the reason you want to arm the Ukrainians to the teeth is that gives them a better bargaining position.
Yeah, totally.
When
Leverage.
negotiating peace.
It's called leverage. Right? Yeah.
It's so funny that these guys, we care so much about oppressive hierarchies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless America is involved, because then America is bad, America evil.
Yeah.
That should be the picture, wait. That's the picture you need to bring up here. Let me send it to you. Because that's all this is. This is the guy in the well picture. Okay.
If the workers don't have the threat of the strike, what do they have?
Here you go. Have you considered America bad?
Oh, yeah.
That's all this
that
is.
One up too?
Yes. That's all this video is. It's like, I don't care that Russia invaded Ukraine. Have you considered that America bad? Like, this is like the ultimate NPC test. You can literally have a situation where one country of its own volition and own free will invades another country, and somehow it's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's someone else's fault.
Because they're socialist and good, and Sleepy Thought is in love with them.
This would be like if we were like, listen, it wasn't America's fault that we invaded Iraq, right?
Of course not.
I mean,
they had weapons of mass destruction.
They had weapons of mass destruction. We had to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see what Iraq was wearing?
Yeah.
It had a big sign
WMDs.
It said WMDs. Okay. We had to do it. We had to do it.
It said WAPs, right?
Right. See, that was the confusion. This whole time, we thought that Iraq had WMDs, but it really had WAPs, and that's why Bush was so excited about going there. He's like, it's in my name.
Oh my God.
I gotta go.
I feel this is like somehow disrespectful, but very funny. Anyway.
That's the best kind, right?
Of course, yeah.
The once untouchable global hegemon is losing its grip on the rest of the world.
Oh my God.
Countless Latin American and African countries have broken ties with the US and accepted more mutually beneficial trade agreements with China.
Yeah. Ah, that's going to end well for them.
Oh.
Can
Yes,
you imagine?
the honest brokers of trade agreements known as the country of China.
Well, it's just look, Americans care. A lot of times foreign aid goes just to whatever thug is in charge of the country, and
Right.
basically they're shitting on all the people, subjugating the people. Our foreign aid is keeping despot dictators in charge.
Mm-hmm.
You think China's going to care about that stuff? I mean, the American voters care about that. As soon as they find out our foreign aid is going to support some Timbuk dictator, everyone gets upset and starts calling their congressperson. That's not going to go on in China.
Well, they don't care because China's communist, so it's good when it's good when China does it, right?
Oh, look, I'm saying, I don't know that that's if I'm in some South American country and my leader, I'm happier if we're moving more towards democracy, because I feel like, you know, the people having a voice will moderate our leaders.
Mm-hmm.
In this situation where they're moving away from that, I just look, China is a authoritarian regime that doesn't really give a flying fuck about their people.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally trying to create the George Orwell 1984 society with facial cameras everywhere and social credit scores. But this cuck here, Sleepy Thought here, is like, yeah, that's good. We gotta stop down on wrongthink, everybody.
Anti-socialist think, right?
Listen, cultural Marxism is a conspiracy. That's why we need facial cameras and social credit scores everywhere, just to prevent these conspiracies from taking hold, everybody. Yo. Trust China. Very trustworthy people. I mean, yeah, they're a one-party country, and the guy's basically a dictator, but, you know, very trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
Even countries which the US expects to be loyal, like France, are expressing doubts that the United States is a reliable partner, and are beginning to shift towards the East. What we see as a result is a desperate attempt by the US and its staunchest allies to weaken its economic adversaries by encouraging proxy wars in Eastern Europe and Asia. So far, China has not taken the bait, and instead has stepped into its role as a key negotiator, recently securing peace between Iran and Saudi Arabia, contributing greatly to—
Wait. What country is United States trying to get China to invade with our map? You know what's funny? This cuck, Sleepy Thought here, okay, this utter piece of human garbage, Eraserhead, this person who looks like a human pencil, we listened to his whole video where he was complaining about how cultural Marxism is a Jewish conspiracy, okay?
I remember that. Made me very angry.
And yet, he's literally doing the Nazi Jewish conspiracy thing, but from his perspective, okay? He's making this argument that America somehow used magic hypnotism to hypnotize Putin into invading Ukraine, so it's not Putin's fault.
Right.
And we tried to use our slippery American hypnotism, right? The only difference here is that just replace American with Jew and you have the Nazi version, right?
Of course. Yeah, that's horrible.
We had the slippery, sneaky, totally not Jewish American elites use their American hypnotism, and we tried to use it on China to get them to invade some other country. And it didn't work because China was too smart, but it worked on Putin, and we hypnotized him into invading Ukraine because we're so terrified. We're so terrified of Russia becoming some kind of economic powerhouse to threaten the United States of America.
So delusional. Does he know anything about the demographic situation that they're in? How they're screwed demographically or any of that stuff?
This shit literally
Why
started...
are they stealing children?
Yeah,
why would someone do that? Look, we have in America, we have immigration. People are like, cities are going, enough. Too much immigration. We can't handle this many people. Russia's fucking stealing kids off the street. What the fuck? Doesn't that make you go kind of like, what's happening here?
It should. It should. If you had a thought that was more than your second thought.
You need a second thought. You need a third thought then. Come on, keep thinking. Keep thinking, you'll get there.
I mean, this conflict literally started in 2014, not from a Western coup, but because Ukraine said, you know, between Ukraine and the people, because they voted for this, the people of Ukraine, who I thought you believed in democracy and people, you know, having freedom of choice, they voted that they didn't want to join Russia's economic bloc, but wanted to join Europe's economic bloc. That the evil white imperialistic, racist, capitalistic economic bloc. They said, we want to join the Europeans, not the Russians. And Russia said, we're not going to let you do that.
Free market capitalism, they said. They're like, sign me up. Give me some of that Western pop music. Give me some of that K-pop. Sign me up.
Yemen, and now, with any luck, helping to peacefully resolve the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It has become increasingly apparent that as the US empire declines, it will become ever more violent and militaristic, a dangerous situation for the rest of the world.
As the Russian empire declines, it will become more dangerous?
No, as the US listen, I don't know if you know this, but the US is in decline right now. I don't know if you know this, right? We're still like the richest country.
I was like, oh, he finally made some sense. He finally gets it.
Right. Even though China's having massive demographic problems, so even though China literally built ghost cities that people don't even listen to because it's the only way they could prop up their entire economy, is to create. China literally created cities that people don't live in. Cities with skyscrapers and parks and buildings that are empty. And they had to do this in order to create some economic vehicle for the middle class in China to be able to invest in property. And they keep this going just so that their middle class remains solvent. Okay?
Yeah.
But the United States of America is an empire in decline.
Yeah, it's insane.
And the way that we're lashing out, okay, at evil here, the way that we're lashing out in our evil way is that we've somehow used our magic American hypnosis to trick Russia into invading Ukraine.
Yeah.
They're good boys.
We gave them the hypnotoad.
There you go.
Go on over there.
There you go.
As the United States remains the only country on Earth to have used nuclear weapons on human beings. And they did it not once, but twice.
What?
Why
does that have to do with anything?
Why does this guy hate America so bad? Where did America touch you inappropriately? That's what I want to know.
Sleepy Thought, can you please show us on the doll where America touched you?
Yeah, what's going on here?
Was it right here on the boom boom? Did America touch you in the no-no? Sleepy Thought, why do you hate America? Why? I want this. Just get out. Why don't you just leave? Why don't you go live in Russia? Okay. Why don't you go live in your shining, or China? Why don't you go live in your shining Shangri-La of communist utopia? You put your money where your mouth is.
Because isn't YouTube blocked over there?
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, probably. Sure. Sorry. Like, this is, oh my God. It's disgusting. I'm disgusted by people like this.
They would give
this is why I'm more right-wing than you, Adam. Like, disgust mechanism triggers.
They would give him a job over in China. They'd give him the white monkey job.
They're right. They would give him the job of creating communist propaganda. They'd even give him a wife. They'd send him a wife, and he'd be like, I don't know it's great over here. I don't know why people are complaining.
You're going crazy. They wouldn't give him a wife. But they would. The Han Chinese are ultra nationalist. It's kind of insane. But they would hire him to do propaganda for them. So he would be doing propaganda literally for an authoritarian nationalist group.
I'm not saying they give him a Han Chinese wife. They'd kidnap some Uyghur lady and be like, here's your new one.
Oh, wow. I don't know about that. They'd say, they go, here's a robot. No, they go, here's a doll. You can screw this.
Here's your America doll. Okay, we know America touched you in a bad place, and now you get to touch America in a bad place. Okay.
Yeah. No, they would. They
Communist
totally would.
Yeah, of course.
Party of the United States and the masses of people both here and around the world must call unanimously for an end to U.S. involvement not just in Ukraine, but in the South China Sea, in Africa, in Latin America,
Oh my God.
and everywhere the U.S. war machine has extended its tendrils.
What a piece of trash. What a utter piece of human trash this guy is. America. America needs to end its involvement everywhere. Just say, listen. It's funny because we're 5 minutes and 27 seconds into this video. There's only 30 seconds left. Usually, now maybe he's got 30 seconds left. Or he's got 20 seconds left, really. Usually these cucks, okay, these simps, they throw in at the very least, I don't support Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but somehow it's all America's fault, right? Like they usually throw in that little bit of trying to give themselves a tiny bit of cover.
Back.
He hasn't even done that.
It's going to be a ground news ad. I don't know what you're talking about.
He hasn't even done he hasn't even given himself the tiny little tidbit of cover here, right?
Right.
So at this point, he's just basically arguing for America should just not be involved, let the Ukrainians just get completely steamrolled by Russia because it's better that way because, you know, the USSR was dissolved illegally and should have never really fallen apart. And it's really just such a shame that it did. God.
Yeah.
We must unequivocally say no to U.S. involvement and no to imperialist war always.
What is Russia's literally invading its neighbor to try to control its politics? How is that not imperialism, you dumb buffoon?
Yeah. Sitch is getting super triggered here.
Because it's just like these idiots they're so, I hate America so much that their brain falls straight out of their asshole and into the toilet, and then they flush it by mistake because they never use it anyway. And just goes down to the fucking sewer, and they spend the rest of their life with fucking felt and America bad running around their head. Like, this guy's a buffoon. Oh, we need to stand up for imperialism is so bad. I mean, when Russia and China does it, it's totally awesome. But when if America does it, it's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I don't get it because obviously Russia's an authoritarian regime, and even in the last video, all he talked about was the authoritarianism of the right. Yet he just sucks right up to the authoritarianism of the right as long as it's in China or Russia.
And it's so funny because, like, the whole, he's like, America should not be involved in the South China Sea dispute, right? It's like China's making all these like crazy sovereign claims about their water and their waters that totally screws over Vietnam, another socialist country, the Philippines, Taiwan, Malaysia, Brunei, and they're just like, whatever. He's like, whatever. China good though. China is totally good though, right? I mean, this guy, I bet you, is totally in favor of China just going over and just taking
Taiwan. Yeah.
Right. So he's like, no, it's totally good. Totally good. It's totally fine. Listen, they deserve it. It's fine. It's really China's country. America, why do you care, America? Why you gotta be like that?
Yeah. Sad.
Enough blood has been spilled desperately trying to maintain an economic order that does not serve the people. Capitalism and imperialism remain the greatest evils of our time. And if we are to secure a better future for all of us, it must be dismantled. And we can start by demanding a peaceful resolution to the conflict in Ukraine.
Look at that.
What a scumbag this guy is.
We need to dismantle our entire society. But first, we have to demand from our elected leaders
right,
a peaceful resolution in Ukraine.
Yeah, right. So Second Thought here made a video literally called How to Make Communist Propaganda.
No way.
Yep. It's a video. It's an instructional guide on how to make communist propaganda. I just thought, we had a whole video about how cultural Marxism was a conspiracy. Meanwhile, he literally has a video called How to Make Communist Propaganda on his channel. But it's just a conspiracy. Just a conspiracy. Right? So he gave this speech, this video that was played at this. It was played at the CPS USA International Conference this year, which is the international conference for the Communist Party in America.
Really?
Yes.
He gave a speech there?
Well, this video, no, that video we just watched was played at
No
the
way.
Communist Party of America conference this year.
No way.
Yes way. That's what this was. This isn't on his channel. This was
Oh,
played
wait,
at the
you're
Communist
right.
Party conference.
Second thought, Ukraine war.
Yep.
So he's like a big time person in the Communist Party. Well, that's
I guess so.
That's because that's, you know, obviously the luxury car money probably goes a long way towards being high up in the Communist Party, don't you think?
God, what a... I gotta call this guy out. Is he on Twitter? There's someone that had his channel name, but I don't think it was him. I gotta find this guy. I gotta call this guy out for being a fucking putz. He needs to come on and defend his shit takes and his lies.
Sitch is ready to go to town.
I am ready to go to war with this disgusting individual. Holy crap.
What is it about these Marxists that really gets under your skin, Sitch?
It's not the Marxism. It's this America bad. America's so bad, so evil that every thought, everything in the world has to be twisted through this stupid, dumb fuck, retarded lens of everything in the world is America's fault. Even when a country of its own volition invades another country, it's somehow America's fault, Adam. Don't you see? Everything is always America's fault. He's blaming America for people dying in Ukraine when Russia can just literally stop and fuck off.
Right.
They can just stop at any time. If Russia tomorrow said, we're going to stop and we're going to pull all of our forces out of Ukraine, is Russia under an existential threat? Is Russia going to cease to be a country at that point?
No.
Now,
no,
Putin,
obviously not.
Putin would be threatened. His power would be threatened, right?
Of course, yeah, because he'd be branded a loser, and everybody keeping him in power in Russia are keeping him in power because they perceive of him as a strong,
yes. But would the country
leader,
of Russia be threatened? Would Russia cease to exist or be threatened to cease to existing if they just pulled out of Ukraine right now?
No.
But if Ukraine gives up, are they threatened to cease to exist at that point?
Ukraine will no longer exist.
Oh. And yet we have this total piece of shit, second thought here, who's supposed to be, I hate hierarchies, I'm all about the oppressed people. And yet he's literally, because he's a disgusting, sniveling fucking piece of shit, is simping for Putin invading another country and blaming America for it.
Not only would Ukraine cease to exist, the Ukrainian citizens would become second-class citizens of Russia.
Right.
It's exactly what would happen.
And he didn't even give the whole, I think what Putin is doing is so horrible. He didn't even throw that in there. He didn't even feel compelled to give himself the little tiny, like, I'm going to pretend, I'm going to put my mask on and pretend that I'm actually fine, that I'm actually against violence here. Like,
yeah. This is the level of stupidity that we hardly ever see on the internet. I mean, this is
insane to me.
Yeah.
This is disgusting to me. God, I'm triggered. Carl sent me this video. Thank you, Carl, for triggering the fuck out of me. Yes, this guy's 100% a tanky. Oh my God. Jeez.
How is somebody, I guess he just doesn't have a wide range of knowledge on the topic, perhaps. Just has a really narrow range,
Of course. Yeah.
And a super, I mean, I don't know how he's so convinced that he's correct. I mean, based on what? What has he read that's really convinced him?
He's read all the America bad. Okay. He's read all the Aaron Matas of the world.
Oh, I guess,
all the Max Blumenthals of the world. America is just so bad. America's bad. Every problem. Listen, I don't know if you know this, Adam. I don't know if you know this. Have you seen Star Trek?
Next Generation or the old one?
And the Next Generation or any of them.
Sure.
Yeah. You know how like in Star Trek there's this like magical utopian society where all countries, there's one world government where there's no money and we have replicators and we all live just to better ourselves and everything's wonderful and there's no racism or sexism. I mean, there was sexism in the original, but there's no racism or sexism.
Imagine all the people. Yeah, I know it.
You know why we
great.
don't have that right now?
Well, America's standing in the way, obviously.
Because America! That's why! America's saying, no, you can't have good things or nice things. That's all. We were right there, Adam. We're right there. If only America wasn't in the way, we could be in that Star Trek future.
Yeah, of course. Look, I know. You know, Stalin was running, almost there. Utopia was in his sights. He was just about ready to cross the finish line. And Uncle Sam just put his foot out and just tripped that motherfucker. He just ate shit right into the dirt.
There was a button, and the button said, world peace.
Right,
and if anyone pressed that button, it would bring about 1,000 golden years of peace and prosperity.
I've seen that button. Yes.
Yes. And
Candy red button.
Stalin was running towards it. The Chariots song was playing.
Of course, Chariots of Fire. Yes, I know.
He's running in slow motion.
Everyone was standing up and saluting and cheering.
My God.
Yes, he's going to get to the button.
And then, bum, 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 JFK, he says, not on my watch. And while he's banging Marilyn Monroe, he uses Marilyn Monroe's body to trip Stalin, and he goes, no! And right before he hits the world peace button, he slips, and he accidentally hits the genocide Ukraine button.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
No, it's America's fault that the Holodomor happened too.
Right out of sight, yeah. Damn
I fucking bet you this motherfucker has a theory that somehow the Holodomor is America's fault.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I bet you he does.
Can never blame all his communist heroes for any of this stuff.
He's like, listen, you don't know. There was all these grain shipments. There was all these food shipments that were ready. They were so close to entering the Soviet Union. But then America just destroyed them all because they said we wanted to starve the Ukrainians. And then Stalin said, no, my people should. He went blue, 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 blue. And he cried sad tears as the people died.
Yeah. Sad. What's up with this guy, man?
Jesus Christ.
How do we get this guy on our show? He's like, I'm dying to ask him actual questions.
I don't think he'd have the courage to actually be challenged on anything. It's insane.
Has he ever done a live stream?
I don't know. I think he did. Like he used to have some guy that he would stream with. I think, but I don't know if he's ever done one where he's like debated something. God. Well, that was fun.
Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.